Welcome back to our OA class. In today's lesson, we're going to talk about the types of business letter and their purposes. There are many types of business letter. For example, there are the application letter, the inquiry letter, a response to an inquiry letter, an order, a sales letter, or a complaint letter. So let's look at the application letter. What is the purpose of an application letter? It is to introduce yourself to a prospective employer. Guidelines for writing an application letter state the purpose of the letter. Emphasize what the applicant has to offer the employer. Give information on your experience. Provide background information. Request an interview. So when you're writing a letter, you must state your purpose. You must emphasize what skills or what qualities you will bring to the organization. Mention your experience and your background, and ask the employer for a request an interview. Next is the inquiry letter. Inquiry letter is to obtain information from the recipient of the letter. Or for example, a company, you might send an inquiry letter to a company or someone that you want to get information from. When you're writing this type of letter, you must state your purpose, list the question or request, and encourage a prompt response. So you must state the purpose of the letter, list whatever you want to know or find out or inquire, and encourage them to respond to you in a timely manner. Next is the respond to an inquiry letter. So once, let's say, a company receive an inquiry letter, they need to respond to that inquiry. And the purpose of responding to an inquiry letter is to supply information in response to an inquiry. Guidelines for creating this type of letter: answers the question clearly. If you cannot answer the question, explains the reason. Close by expressing willingness to assist where possible. The next type of letter we're going to talk about is an order letter. An order letter is written to a manufacturer, a wholesaler, or a retailer to request products or services. When you're writing this type of letter, you must state the order, whether if the order was placed in response to an advertisement, and state your order clearly. So you must mention if you are responding to an advertisement, because sometimes you might place an order, and by not mentioning that you have placed it from an advertisement, you may have to pay full price, or they might not have the promotion going on anymore. I must state your order clearly so there won't be any confusion with your order. Now there is the letter of sale. The letter of sale is used to sell a product or service. When you're writing this type of letter, you need to provide information that will capture the reader attention, describes the product. It must be done in a persuasive way to capture the attention of the person reading or the customer, and gives the reader opportunity to learn more, like include catalogs or a pamphlet on the product. Letter of complaint. The purpose of a letter of complaint is to convince the reader that you have a valid complaint and to obtain a desired response. So a letter of complaint is sent out when you have a valid complaint and you want to convince the person you're sending this letter to that to get a response from them to your complaint. Guidelines for writing a letter of complaint: state the issue clearly and concise. Identifies the product or service which you are unsatisfied with or have a complaint for. Propose a solution. Ends the letter respectfully. And make sure your tone is respectful and not quarrelsome, demanding, or insulting. So you must keep that in mind when writing a letter of complaint. Respond to a letter of complaint. The purpose when you're writing a letter, responding to a letter of complaint, is to tell the customer how you plan to handle the situation, guidelines for writing this type of letter, express how much you value your customer, you must state that, show that your company is a fair and reasonable, express regrets for the situation, end in a positive note by encouraging future business with your company. So I hope that you guys have learned something or have some pick up some pointers when writing these types of letter. Do your own research and your own reading to learn more about writing these types of letter, business letter. Stay safe, and I will see you in the next class.